And I think my tent's about to fall down. Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. I'm an American who's lived in the UK for almost 10 years, and today we are trying American s'mores versus British s'mores. Okay, so for today's video, I am camping at an English campground, but I do have some American ingredients for a very popular American campfire treat, which is a s'more. So I know some Brits are familiar with s'mores, but some people that I've met here genuinely have never heard of them. S'mores is short for some more, and it kind of dates back. The first mention was in the 1920s, and throughout history it's appeared in like Girl Scout and Boy Scout like camping recipe guides, and it's just become a really popular like summer camping treat. So traditionally you would make them over a campfire, but lots of British campsites don't allow you to make campfires, so we have a camping stove. And I have some American ingredients and the British ingredients of how you would make a s'more in the UK, because you can't get all of the ingredients for s'mores here in the UK. Maybe you can find like imports, but you can't find them at a typical British supermarket. So first things first, I'm going to talk you through how to make an American s'more so you can try it at home. Then we're going to make the British s'more, and then we're going to compare, and I'm going to try and be non-biased, which is basically impossible. Is it non-biased or unbiased? I'm very sleep deprived from camping. So I forgot what I was saying. I don't know where I was. Okay, so we are going to start with the American version. So here's what you are going to need. You are going to need some graham crackers, which we don't have here in the UK. So we call them graham crackers, and my British friends make fun of the way I say the word graham. So I'm sure you Brits at home will also find something funny with it, though it sounds right to me. But these are honey graham crackers. They're basically the plain kind. And these were bought at Walmart and brought back to me by a very nice friend who was in the States, because I haven't been in a long time. So we have authentic graham crackers, and basically what they are is it's kind of hard to explain because I don't know what to compare them to in the UK. It's kind of like a sweet cracker, possibly. I don't think it qualifies as a biscuit here, but yeah, it's like a flat. They come in pieces like this, and you break them apart. But you can't find graham crackers in the UK, so you'd have to order some imported from the States if you want to make the authentic American version. So we're gonna have the graham crackers. Then we have marshmallows. Again, the ones I have are American brand marshmallows. So they're jet puffed marshmallows. And on the back of the marshmallows and the graham crackers and the chocolate I'm about to mention, they all have the recipe for s'mores. So this is such an iconic snack that on all of the packaging it just talks about s'mores. So American marshmallows tend to be these larger kind, which I find are more difficult to find in the UK with UK brands. A lot of times when I look for marshmallows here, they're gonna be the smaller ones. Often they'll be actually like white and pink ones that we have at our local store. And American marshmallows and British marshmallows are actually different. There's something about the coating of a British marshmallow. I'm not entirely sure what it's coated in, but it sometimes feels like maybe like a sugar coating on the outside or something. It would be something that you wouldn't notice unless you have tried an American marshmallow and a British marshmallow, but American marshmallows really don't have anything. It's completely smooth on the outside, and typically in America, bigger is better, so we have jumbo marshmallows. I don't have any British marshmallows for the British version, so we're just gonna pretend for that one that I'm using British marshmallows, but that is going to be a key ingredient in the s'more. And the final ingredient in our s'more is going to be some Hershey's milk chocolate. And if you are a Brit who has been to the States and tried Hershey's or somehow tried it in the UK, my question for you today is going to be your opinion on the taste of Hershey's chocolate. Now, I grew up on Hershey's chocolate. We don't have Cadbury's in the US. Even the imported stuff doesn't taste the same, and we really all eat Hershey's. Of course, there's other like more luxury brands, but when you're having s'mores, Hershey's chocolate is the way to go. So I grew up having Hershey's my whole entire life, not thinking anything of it. And I moved here and I think my tent's about to fall down. Hold on one moment. Okay, there we go. So a lot of people here don't like the taste of Hershey's and say it tastes disgusting. So again, let me know your comments down below. It kind of tastes like my childhood, so it's hard for me to be objective, though I can probably say I do prefer Cadbury's. But this is what a Hershey's chocolate bar looks like, and it's easily broken up into squares. Okay, so now that I've talked a lot about our ingredients, we are going to make a s'more. So what we're gonna do first is we're going to take a skewer. Typically, if you're camping, you're just gonna find a stick in the woods. That's more fun, but I don't see any sticks around. So I came prepared with these skewers. You're going to skewer a marshmallow. Turn on your flame or your fire, which I've just done now. So I'm just doing this like on an open flame, and I'm just going to toast the marshmallow by kind of turning it slowly. So you're gonna get a little bit of burn. Part of the fun of making s'mores as a kid is your marshmallow lighting on fire and then panicking and waving it all around. So real fire hazard in a lot of campsites. So I'm just gonna keep like lightly toasting it. Maybe I'll get it to set on fire for fun. There it goes. Okay, so that's a pretty well done marshmallow. So we're gonna go ahead and turn off our heat. Okay, so now I have my toasted marshmallow, and for the American version, I'm going to take one side of my graham cracker. So I've split the larger cracker into half, so you're gonna have two of these little fourths. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the Hershey's chocolate on this graham cracker right here. And I'm gonna have the other graham cracker ready to go, just like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the marshmallow on here. I'm trying to do this so you can see. And then I'm going to go ahead and squash the marshmallow off, pull that skewer out, squash it until it's really gooey, and now I have an authentic American s'more. Okay, so now it's time to make the British version with some things that you can find in the UK if you want to make these at home. Again, the marshmallows that I have are the jumbo American marshmallows. So you can either find those, or if you use smaller marshmallows, then you kind of just skewer a lot on and do it like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and use Cadbury's chocolate. So I've got the iconic purple packaging here. Again, Cadbury's chocolate, well loved in the UK, really delicious, really smooth dairy milk, and it comes in just little squares like these that we got out of this larger bar. So again, you can't find Hershey's in the UK, and I think a lot of British people are perfectly happy with that. So we're gonna use some Cadbury's for our British version. And instead of graham crackers, we are going to use rich tea biscuits. So these have really, I've eaten half the pack, but you can kind of see it was a light blue packaging. And these are considered good for dunking in tea here. I would say that these, or chocolate digestives or plain digestives, would actually be kind of the closest graham cracker equivalent. But these have less of a sweet taste to me, which I think works for what we're going for here, because we don't necessarily want something super sweet. Again, a graham cracker is kind of like an in-between taste. It doesn't taste very dessert-like, but it's not necessarily completely plain cracker-like. So we're gonna go ahead and try this with the rich tea biscuits or digestives if you have those at home. So the process is the same. So I'll go ahead and skewer my marshmallow or marshmallows, and I'm going to make sure my flame is on. I'm just gonna toast this and make sure that you've got your Cadbury's on your biscuits ready to go. And you're just gonna cook it until it's nice and gooey. Browned on the outside. People like theirs with varying spectrums of done, so it's completely up to you, but I'm gonna probably consider that done. Okay, so I've got my marshmallow, I've got my rich tea biscuit and my Cadbury's, and my other rich tea biscuit to go ahead and act as the topper. So I'm going to put my skewer and marshmallow on here, cover it with the rich tea biscuit, pull out the skewer, and there you have a nice gooey British alternative to a s'more. And it's also just started raining as I pulled out the British s'more, which is very authentic to me. So the final thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna do a taste test. I am going to try, I know which one is which, it's impossible to, a blind taste test won't work in this situation. I'm gonna try and cleanse my palate and see what the pros and cons of both are. Okay, so we've had to go inside because it started pouring down rain. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the American version, nice and gooey, and this is going to be a complete mess, and that is the point of a s'more. So you can see how the crumb of this graham cracker kind of starts cracking a bit and crumbling. Again, it's part of what we consider to be the fun of a s'more. I'm gonna have a really hard time comparing until I try the British one because this does taste like my childhood. So let's try the British one and then compare. So we've got our rich tea biscuit and Cadbury's. And you can see the rich tea biscuit kind of crumbled as well, but not necessarily exactly the same as the graham cracker. Okay, so having tried both, I'm gonna say that the rich tea biscuit British version wins for the chocolate, not just because Cadbury's is probably better than Hershey's, but Cadbury's is thicker than Hershey's, and so you get a thicker layer of chocolate, which I like in that one. However, in the American version, I think the taste of a graham cracker to me is just so iconically s'more that I couldn't possibly choose the British version. There's just something about the taste that works really well with the combination of flavors. But honestly, I would say if you are trying to make a s'more at home in the UK, you want to know what it's all about and you try the British version with digestives and Cadbury's chocolate, it's pretty similar. You're going to get the full s'more experience, I would say. Now, it can be a little bit slightly different again if you have lots of little marshmallows instead of one big one. But as long as you do like 5 to 7 small marshmallows and kind of put them all in the center, you should end up with a similar taste. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose the American s'more because duh, I'm American. I couldn't possibly choose the knockoff version on this one. There are plenty of British things that Americans don't do well, but a s'more is very classically and authentically American, so I'm gonna have to give it the win. But I hope you enjoyed this video on all about American and British s'mores. If you've made it to the end, yes, you did just spend all this time watching a video about s'mores. Comment below and let me know if you've ever tried s'mores. Have you had them in the US? I'm assuming most people haven't had them while in the UK, but I know a lot of Brits do travel internationally or have American friends and have heard of them. But definitely let me know your thoughts, and if you haven't tried a s'more before, go ahead and make one. Send me a picture at the email listed on my YouTube channel. I would love to hear it. It's a really fun, easy dessert to make. You can just make them on the stove with like a gas burner. You can even melt the marshmallow in a microwave. We've also done them on the barbecue by putting some marshmallows on like a tin foil container and melting the marshmallows that way. So there's lots of different ways you can make them, and also you can do things like using gluten-free digestives for someone who's gluten-free, or changing up the ingredients slightly, so it's a really like diverse dessert. And I have never had them at a campfire here in the UK, but we have them for dessert quite often. So there's your video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.